Our next video highlights a particular digital application called BMS Study Connect. Carolyn Brehm and Mano introduced this, and it was the second, the runner-up really for the Patient Engagement Awards. But for a lot of us in the audience, this was the standout for looking at patient engagement. Now, they looked at three challenges. They looked at the lack of understanding and knowledge of patients, finding the right trial for patients, and keeping the patient engaged throughout the trial. And this is how they did it. Hello again, it's Ruth here, and I'm with Carolyn Brehm and Mano from Bristol-Myers Squibb, who identified earlier on three main challenges in getting patients connected with trials. First of all, it was the lack of understanding and knowledge. Secondly, it was patients finding the right trial for them. And the third one was keeping the patient engaged throughout. Carolyn, can I start with you and ask you how BMS started to solve this problem?
Sure, yeah. So Study Connect is our patient engagement platform that we've had since 2011. And we had the problem of not having a centralized location to drive patient recruitment through digital marketing. We are creating a lot of standalone websites. So we've had a couple evolutions or versions of Study Connect, but our latest version that we launched last year added key digital capabilities, and we created a patient engagement platform through digital innovations, global expansion, and key strategic vendor partnerships.
You have quite a number of vendor partnerships involved in this site. How did you find that went with quite a number of people being involved in different areas?
Yeah, I'll let Mano jump in a little bit, but we knew that we didn't have to build all the capabilities that we wanted, and there are some great digital technologies out there around patient engagement. So we just realized we had a gap to fill, and then we would go out and look at which vendors can fill this gap that we have, and so we found there were different opportunities within Study Connect where we reached out and partnered. So through our condition screeners, we partnered with Emerging Med. With our call center, we partnered with PharmaCentra. And again, it just, there's so much technology, there's so many key vendors out there, and it's just a matter of finding the right one that's going to solve the, patient engagement gap that you have.
Now, when you became the second finalist in the Patient Engagement Awards, it was very clear that you had a very, very unique perspective that I haven't personally seen from any drug company before, in that you actually have trials from non-BMS sponsors. Can you tell us about that process and how you came to that decision?
Sure. I'll let Mano answer this question. He knows a lot about the history.
Thank you, Carolyn. So we always say that we put the patient in the center in all our planning, patient engagement, recruitment, etc. We wanted to make sure BMS did more than just lip service to this. So when we thought about the patient's journey of finding a clinical trial, we didn't want there to be the end of the journey at any point. So if they did not find a BMS trial, there had to be a door open, and we did everything to make sure there was a door open for them to go to another sponsored trial. We went as far as putting them on the same page at the same level. I think it's the right thing to do. That's what it is. And we are so glad that our sponsors stood behind us.
Yes, I hear it went up quite high in certain countries to be able to get that approval.
It's true.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about the sort of metrics and the changes that you've seen in the way that patients have engaged through this compared to what it was like before?
Sure. So the traditional thing in patient recruitment is the recruitment funnel. We want to see how many people came in and how many of them actually did something to get recruited into a trial. So I can share that we have now, on average, 22,000 unique visitors coming to the website. This is at least 4 times more than what we had before. So the top of the funnel, we're doing great.
This is per month, is it?
This is per month.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At the bottom of the funnel, where we are looking at how many patients did we actually qualify and have ready for enrollment, that number is less. We have every month, 10 patients per month getting there. We definitely want to improve those numbers, but what I want to also recognize that these are 10 patients who are qualified and ready to participate in trials, and which are much better than 100 patients who may not be pre-qualified and may not be ready to participate in trials. So we'll do more, but those are promising numbers. In addition, we have a concept of engagement score. We're not only measuring recruitment, we want to make sure in how many ways we help the patient gain awareness and education, take the next step in finding the right trial, connecting with other patients. We have this engagement score tracked on a weekly and monthly basis, which will tell us a lot more on how we are benefiting different patients, and will also eventually help us tweak our website so that it's more useful.
Okay. Do most of your patients just belong to the trials that BMS, in the therapeutic areas that BMS runs, or do you cover the whole gamut of therapeutic areas?
Yeah, that's a great question. So with some of the features like our screeners, our health screeners that help patients really match to the right trial, we today only have what BMS studies or what we research. So BMS researches about 35 different conditions. So we have 35 condition screeners so they answer these questions, and then we help match them to the best fit trial based on their health and the eligibility. That is something that I would like to improve, to see if there is more of a generic screener that anybody can take with any condition that will still help them match to trials on clinicaltrials.gov, which again, it's obviously outside of BMS research, but still it's helping the patient find the right trial and bringing that information back to their care team, and then having their doctor maybe do some research and help them find the right trial.
Can I ask you, clinicaltrials.gov is supposed to have a place for patients to go. I myself have sometimes difficulty going through clinicaltrials.gov to find out exactly what's going on. Have you had to change the information significantly in order to allow patients to understand it, or do you do a direct pull?
It's a good question. We can answer this together. But so we are pulling information directly from clinicaltrials.gov onto Study Connect. And that was an enhancement where we're bringing in the treatment arms. We're bringing in all the eligibility. We've got a great map of where all the sites are. An effort that I know Mano is close to is getting lay language, plain language, terminology and universal patient language onto clinicaltrials.gov. So when we do that automatic pull from clinicaltrials.gov onto our Study Connect protocol pages, it's in a more simpler, easy to understand language. It's definitely a work in progress, but we've got, this is something we highlighted years ago, and so I think we're doing much better with that. So again, when people come to our protocol page and they read the eligibility, it's in a little bit more simpler, easy to understand language.
That's great.
Yeah. So I just want to add that clinicaltrials.gov has evolved much since its inception. It's improving every year, I would say. However, this is a registry. This is not meant to be a patient-facing tool. So as an example, the primary and secondary outcome measures are for scientists. Patients don't have useful features like, can you show me the trial site which is closest to me, or a map, or remind me when my trial starts recruiting. So it was built as a registry, and it does great as a registry, very useful to everybody, to the whole community. But as far as being patient-friendly, it's not yet there.
No. I couldn't agree more, to be perfectly honest. The last thing I was going to ask you is clinicaltrials.gov, as far as I understand it, adds around about between 100 and 300 trials each week to this. Now, do you have any issues with pulling data across that into your website so that it doesn't wipe out information that you perhaps changed or made different? It's because it's quite a complex process, I think, isn't it?
It's not a problem because the way it's designed. So we pull in the details of all the BMS studies in full detail into our website on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
We do not pull in the full detail of all the studies for all the other sponsors, hundreds and hundreds, which get added. But when we do need to publish details about those other sponsored trials, we send them to a link in clinicaltrials.gov, which is fetched in real time. And that's how we make sure that the data doesn't get overwritten. It's as recent as it can be.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you very, very much. So the future for BMS Connect, are you going to extend it? Where are you going to go in the future?
We've got lots of ideas. Two kind of themes that we're looking at for the future is we developed Study Connect as, with the patient at top of mind. That was the most important thing as we developed Study Connect. But we've realized that investigators and doctors, we want to make it easier for them. And so we want to expand Study Connect to target HCPs and create protocol pages that are more scientific and more medical. They need a different type of search. They need to be able to search modalities and just, medical, terminologies that a patient would never understand. So our hope is to develop just a different search and filter for HCPs to help them find the right trial for their patients. We also want HCPs to be able to register their patients, through our referral process as well. So just enhancing the features around for HCPs is a kind of a theme that we want to expand on. The other area is around a patient portal. So we've gone through our own journey about what this patient portal needs, but it started off as just helping patients have their visit schedules, visit reminders. What is this visit going to impact, or how is it going to impact me? Is it a 2-hour visit? Is it a 4-hour visit? So the whole visit schedule is really where we started off. But beyond that, we want, as a sponsor, we're interested in looking at how we can return data, individual data, back to patients. And we think that we can do this through a portal. Now, that in itself is a whole conversation we know we have a pilot going on this year, where if a patient fails the screening, before they start the trial, we want to share that data back with them because those test results will actually help them find the right trial. That trial wasn't the right trial, but if they have some of these test results back, their doctor can take that and help them find the right trial. So, and then there's just there's other different ways to return data back. So those are the patient portal, and that would be a secure login place that patients would go in and get information around the trial and around their data.
I think it's brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing your information and with the audience.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.